Hello everyone. Welcome to Astro Reader PH and thanks for dropping by for some astrology. This week can be pretty dramatic as Mercury tries to untangle the knots that came up when it was retrograde. We could also see some hope return as Saturn's combustion weakens. And we could see the beginning of attempts to revitalize our economy, not only in the bigger picture, through our governments and institutions, but also in the smaller one, in our daily lives. As Mercury turned direct last week, all planets are now in direct motion. Overall, this may seem like a positive development, but it has its pros and cons. When all planets are direct, that leaves little room for alternatives or unorthodox processes. No shortcuts. Everything right now may have to be done the correct, established, or proper way, which isn't always the best way. Sometimes, doing things the expected way can be tiring or time-consuming. Just ask people who have no retrograde planets in their charts. Retrograde periods give us that step back, the downtime we need to re-evaluate things. We internalize. So when no planets are retrograde, we could feel pretty drained because instead of internalizing, we must externalize. So having all planets direct is like having to externalize everything. But the good news here is, at least most processes are somehow back in their usual mode. Everything is, or will be, back in working order. As I said in the last video, we seem to be moving towards a business as usual setup in the world. Businesses, travel, institutions, and the like are beginning to reopen, just as predicted after Saturn Square Uranus and Uranus stationary retrograde. So in the short term, we may see some minor economic recovery in the next few weeks due to Venus and Mercury direct, as well as other factors we'll cover soon. By the way, as Mercury changes direction, there's this momentary period where it's as if it doesn't know where it's going, so some processes could get caught up in the confusion. If there are documentary or process issues, or even business troubles that you're experiencing now, wait a couple of days to let them get sorted out. Brain fog may also clear up in a few days. Meanwhile, Saturn is still combust in Aquarius this week. As mentioned last week, this may be causing us some feelings of failure or depression. Saturn is a very serious planet. We could have our fair share of duties, responsibilities, challenges, and delays too. And like I said, karma could be strong now. There could be rewards or repercussions for those who deserve them. Since this is in Aquarius, these could be collective experiences. If you do not owe any debt to Saturn, meaning you've been mature and strong enough to learn his lessons in the past, even stoic, you are likely to do better than others. Good news is the exact conjunction with the Sun is over, and this energy is weakening. As the Sun distances from Saturn in the days to come, we may feel the slow return to optimism. Time heals all wounds. In connection with that, Mercury in Capricorn, now direct, is set to finalize some issues this week before it moves to Aquarius next week. So if you're a trader in stocks or cryptocurrencies, that's a positive development for you next week. Crypto has suffered quite a bit in the recent past due to Venus and Mercury retrograde, while Capricorn is more related to the traditional businesses like banking. Aquarius denotes the more innovative and cerebral areas like crypto, NFTs, and stocks. Anyway, Mercury in Capricorn also concerns activities regarding leadership, career, image goals, as well as duties and responsibilities. As Mercury went retrograde in Capricorn from January 26 to February 4, some issues could have come up in these areas. Mercury in Capricorn issues make me think of bureaucracy and red tape getting in the way of smooth processes, so that's a possibility. There could also have been process delays, bad business moves, miscommunications, or logistical problems caused by poor leadership, rules, or established protocols. And this week, Mercury will attempt to correct those errors in a pretty dramatic way. It's gonna be dramatic because Mercury is also conjunct Pluto as it does this around February 11. So Mercury will delve deep into the unknown, maybe even do some investigative work just to get to the core of the matter. Mercury will investigate what is the real story. With Pluto, there could be some ugly or uncomfortable information that comes to the surface. So this week, we could see some somewhat disturbing information come out about our leaders, institutions, corporations, employers, governments, parents, or bosses. But aside from disturbing, Pluto is also transformative. So these findings can cause powerful changes. There could be a destruction of the old, making way for the new. In our own lives, Mercury conjunct Pluto in Capricorn can help us discover deep truths about our careers, reputation, and life goals as well. You can check your natal Saturn for clues on this, and what we find can help us make huge changes or even overhauls in our lives. Pluto energy is like the phoenix rising from the ashes. And remember the obsessive, depressive thinking that we discussed last week? As Mercury conjoins with Pluto for the last time, around February 11, we could see a conclusion to that as well. Finally, Mercury and Venus retrograde have done a number in our economy and personal finances for sure, especially combined with the Saturn Uranus restrictions last year. So now we face the enormous task of resuscitating the economy. This is a long process that we will have to go through for the next 2 years at least, but it has its minor trigger events here and there. One such trigger will be the lunar quarter in Taurus on February 8, which will be conjunct the North Node in Taurus. This will loosely trigger the nodal axis in Taurus and Scorpio. But mainly, this is just the precursor leading up to the full moon in Leo, squaring the nodal axis on February 16 next week. Simply stated, we could feel a financial pressure during this time. In the world, we'll start seeing calls for economic restoration. In our own lives, we may feel a restriction of resources. So in the next 2 weeks, we can make some important short-term moves regarding our money and assets. This could translate to a savings or business plan, or some other way to protect stability and solve financial issues. The primary question is, what solutions may be done to solve certain financial problems? Outside of our own lives, we may see this happen in governments, corporations, and institutions around the world as well. As the sun is in Aquarius, there could be a team or collaborative effort to create these solutions. Or you can make use of technology, the internet, or other brilliant ways. Thinking critically, scientifically, or out of the box would bode well with Aquarius energy. But as I said, this is just the start of a 2-year process. And that's it. Thanks for watching the Astrology of the week of February 7 to 13 for all signs. Please like and subscribe. Thanks. Goodbye.